Today, FiveEyes.tv, internet television profile G Vibes, singer, musician, music producer, and one of the owners of Remus Sound System. G Vibes, welcome.
Greetings, sir.
G Vibes, you have an interesting and varied past. It may inspire some of our youths who have a tendency to feel disenfranchised from society. If you give us a taste of your personal background.
Went to school in South London. It's really in school I developed the talents of music that I've got. I learned bass guitar, rhythm guitar, a little bit of drums and keyboards. By the time I was 14, I was engineering and mixing live bands. I was a member of a band from 11, doing DJing and singing at first, backing vocals. Then by the time I was 12, 13, by 13, 14, I had my own band. Continued going around London, Southwark, the youth centres and so forth, doing little shows and that. Joint sound system from the age of about 12, 13, going to early sessions. In them times we could go to dances from 7 till 12 on like a Wednesday or Thursday night, Fridays as well. So it's just been constantly a music thing, and then from I left school I knew that it was really a music thing I wanted to deal with.
Where did you spend the major part of your youth?
South London. As a child, first I grew up in Kennington. Teenage years was spent in Peckham.
How would you describe your background, working class or otherwise?
Suppose I come from a working class family because my parents work. I've always worked from I've known. I've worked from I came from school, left school. I've done various jobs as well, so suppose it would be classed as working class.
So can I say then that you left school with a barrel full of qualifications?
Yeah, a few still, you know.
At that stage, how did you envisage your future?
Well, I always wanted to do music, even from school, coming out of school. Electronics was another love of mine, which was really to do with the music as well, because I wanted to learn to build amplifiers and those kind of things, which would have enhanced what I was doing in the music field as well. So when I left school, I was really pursuing learning about wiring components and them things to learn how to do those kind of things. I did that for about 2-3 years till about 18, 19 or so, and I stopped after a while because it wasn't really maybe as fast. When you're young you want things to happen fast, so because it wasn't really happening as fast as I wanted it to, I kind of got more interested back in singing, sound system, and on both sides, more than really wanting to build my own things. There was already people out there that was building them, so we decided to just buy.
And you make music in which particular area?
I make music in the reggae field, you know. That's what my personal love is, and I specialise in reggae music. It was from a child. I mean, I listened as a young child. A lot of people don't know because they just know me to be a reggae-minded person. But as a young child, I listened to all types of music. I listened to jazz, blues, pop, rock, everything. I went to Jamaica in 1975, where reggae music just kind of took over me from that point. And from that point, really, I just decided to really just deal with reggae music and listen to that soul, because it was just a music that was like just for me, you know.
Some might think that being a music producer, you have a comfortable lifestyle divorced from the daily grind of Southeast London, and that your music might not hold a message that anyone can hold on to. How would you answer such a charge?
Well, with any work that you want to do in life, you have to work hard. So a comfortable lifestyle depends what you mean. I mean, I'm happy with doing music because I actually found a talent, my natural skills, and managed to manifest it and be happy in the works I do. But like with all things, it's not necessarily what you do, but the people that you do it with. So sometimes you meet people that you don't want to necessarily maybe work with or so forth, because that's just people, you know. The message in the music, the topics I deal with, I deal with not just one topic. I deal with many topics that address us all due to daily living, personal living, and so forth. So I deal with love, I deal with hate, I deal with war, I deal with peace. So there's a message within my songs for most people still who's living life in some form or the other.
How would you describe your politics?
Politics? I don't really deal with politics as such. From which aspect are you asking?
Well, like from your songs, say you're going to write, don't you look at what is happening in the world today from a
Okay.
political perspective, and wouldn't you write a song?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, politics. Injustices I don't like, so anytime I feel I see something which isn't a just thing towards a set of people, it could inspire me to write a song on the topic. There's many things I've seen in life which are not fair, and suppose the politics of the earth is that the politicians have it set in a way that they control, and if you're being controlled by a set of people and you really have your own mind, you find you don't want to be controlled, so you will always rebel against certain issues and points that they make which you may not feel are fair to you as or to your human rights. You see, these things are measured in different justifications of thought. So some people may be happy with some laws. I think, okay, that law is okay because it governs them in a certain way. But others may not be. For instance, I don't really think it's fair you need visas or passports to travel around the world, because we're born on the earth, so that means the whole earth is ours, so we shouldn't have to be, no one should really have the right to tell us we can't go somewhere for a particular reason. I mean, if you commit certain crimes, and it doesn't even have to be a violent crime, they won't let you into certain countries, but because you committed that crime in one place, doesn't mean you're going to go to another place and commit the same crime. They say once you serve a sentence, you're meant to have learned by your mistakes in life, but these things don't give you a chance to overcome and go forward, because they're forever being a barrier for you in your life to say, well, if you've done this, you can't go here. So politics and people's points of views, they say they will be in fear. They say that in the Western world we live in a democracy where we're free to do as we want. Personally, I think it's just a word that they've used to kind of mislead us to believe we can do as we want. For example, in 2003, we had this war with Iraq, and according to the votes of the people, they didn't want this war to go on, but the government still went forward on their own. They said that Saddam had nuclear weapons. Till today, no one has found any. They've caught him, but no weapons. So where is the justification to their act of going into another person's country, which is not theirs? Although they want to say they saved people who was being ill-treated and so forth. I see all those points of view, but yet still, the normal person, they want to stop them from traveling on a passport for a lesser crime. So it's really, you have to really look into the world situation for yourself and see where you lay, because some people will hear this and agree, some people will hear what I say and think I'm chatting a load of rubbish, but it depends on their part where their status and where their what's the word I need? Like, you see their views on life and the things what they uphold near and dear. These things will sway how people think. Some people who's making money due to certain things will be happy that the world is running a particular way. Others who are not won't be. So they're living, really.
Have you got an album ready for us then?
Yeah, I've got an album that's ready, but the problem with being a producer, you're never satisfied with the work, so I still keep pulling tracks on and off and think, no, I don't want this track, I want a different track and so forth. But I've got an album in line, yeah.
What are your aims?
For the album?
Yeah.
The aim for the album is really for it to reach worldwide and really bring happiness and awareness to people throughout the world, because sometimes you're living in a situation, but when it's worded in a particular way through music, you kind of maybe can find a way to progress out of certain situations you may not want to be in and so forth. So really it's for my music to reach people and for them to enjoy it, and hopefully not just really from a pleasurable point of view, but to be able to maybe hear something and learn something about life, or from what I have learned about life. Matt can share these things with people and, you know, bring them another level. Just not say you're not on your own in certain points of views and thinking, so forth.
Being one of the owners of Remus Sound System, where do you see the world of sound system going in this century?
Oh, the world of sound system right now, they've done a lot of things to try and stop us developing sounds through noise environment, noise pollution and things. When they go into buildings, they don't. The clubs stopped hiring sounds and putting their own sets in the clubs and so forth. So there's a lot of venues where we used to be able to have in latter years which are not there again in such a way. But if the sound systems are maintained in the correct way and the dances are kept in the right way, I can see sound systems going very, very far.
Do you normally sing on the sound then?
I used to sing on the sound back in the 80s, but the sound world has kind of changed, even down to the rhythms. One time you used to get versions on the records, they stopped putting the versions on the records at one point. It started to come back around to the normal way again, where they put the versions, so if you feel a vibe, you can pick up the mic and sing. But sound systems have kind of turned into disco units with this 2 turntable and mixing things, so everything's kind of more centered on sometimes on the DJ more than the actual sound and the crew, because a sound system is more of a crew, but you've got a lot of radio DJs now who don't really deal with the vibe. The vibe of what a sound system really is has kind of changed, you know, from what it was to what it is now.
Have you got a song for us then that you think will give us the G vibes feel?
Okay, yeah, one of the first songs that I released from here, which was back in 1995, was a song called Never Gonna Give Up Life. And that song went, I come to realize I should have no fear when it comes to dying. Have no fear, just live the best I can and prepare for a better living. Be prepared. A time will come when I've got to leave. I strive for my aims to reach what I want to achieve on the way to eternity, yeah. On the way to eternity, yeah. And I say I'll never give up life, no. Yeah. That's the vibes.
Any famous people or persons that you've worked with?
Yeah, oh, so many. I've worked with Sugar Minor. I've recorded some tracks with him, produced, we've done shows together. I've done backing vocals with him on shows. Worked with producer Gregory Isaacs. I got tracks with Luciano, Michael Rose, Jamason, Anthony B. From a sound system aspect, having the studio running on a dub plate aspect, I've worked with most artists who's on the dancehall scene and creating dubplates for sound system, Caperton, Beanie Man, Frisker Kid. There's so many names. Fan Hard Vegas, Frankie Paul, Professor Nux, Coca T. Even the vintage, going back in vintage time, Multi-Instrumentalist, Derek Morgan, Stranger Paul, tough artist, Dennis Al Capone, Jimmy Riley, Leroy Civil. If I keep on thinking, I just keep on coming up with more and more names. A lot of people. It's easier. Sometimes I think it's easier to tell people who I haven't worked with more than who I have. Yeah, it's a shorter list.
Which instrument is your favourite?
Favorite instrument. That's between the bass guitar and the rhythm guitar. I think it's bass. I learnt bass first. I learnt keyboards. Keyboards and bass was the first two things I learnt. I was about 9, 10 when I first began to play, or was like interested in playing. I used to go to my cousin's house, and every time he plays bass and he had a keyboard, and every time I would go there, I'd find instead of playing with my cousins, I'd be there banging on the keyboards and stealing away in his room to pick up his guitar and try and play. I never knew what I was doing, but one day he caught me and he's decided to teach me how to play the bass. So the bass I think is my most favourite out of everything I play, yeah.
How do you create or write songs?
The creating and writing of songs, firstly I just used to make up words and just write them down. And with the knowledge of the keyboard, sometimes when I was in school, I'd sit down around the piano and begin to hit out like the chords I knew and write on that basis. And then one day I wrote a song with I think it had about 7 different chord changes, different chords in the song, and I couldn't play it on the piano and sing. So then I decided to learn the guitar, and I found I could play the guitar more than the piano. So when it comes down to writing songs is really, it comes all different ways for me. Like I could pick up a guitar and decide I'm going to write a song, and then I begin playing some chords and write. Or sometimes I'll be walking along and I'll begin singing, and then that's another song written. And again, the personal vibes where people upset me because I stammer. So I used to be aggressive, I suppose, as a young child due to the frustrations of not being able to get my point across. And then when I realised I could sing from primary school, it was one of my teachers even that brought it to me. He decided he wanted me to star in one of the plays we was doing in school, and he knew that as a child who stammered it was very hard, but he still knew away from the stammer I was very positive and a bright child. So he put on a musical where he had me as a star actor in it, and being able to sing, I found that with music I don't stammer. So from there really I found when I used to get frustrated by people, firstly when I was young I used to fight, but then by the time I was maybe like 12, 13 and a bit older, I decided I didn't want to be fighting all the time, so I used to go away and write songs.
You're a father as well?
Yeah.
And
what's up?
Who have we got here then?
This is Savian, my youngest.
Hello, Savian.
Say hello.
Yeah.
Did you want to say action, didn't you?
And we're going for
Say action now.
the action man on a super tart and on your girl wash. And that one is giving you a favorite of toy. Oh, mommy get Christmas.
Is it?
Yeah.
You also do engineering.
Yeah. You see, my whole music career really was stemmed around singing. Yeah, that's what everything I learned was all to do to back up my singing. So I was about 3rd or 4th year in secondary school where I was fortunate. My music teacher wasn't from England; she was from New York. So her outlook on how children develop, I find is totally different to how the English teachers were dealing with things. So she saw my natural talent and said to me one day that she's going to book me to go and learn to engineer, because with singing and everything and the way she saw my creative skills, she said I need to know to be able to communicate with the engineers in the studio, so I'd be able to get exactly what I want out of my tracks and get the best of me across. So she said the only way to really do that is having knowledge of the things I'm actually going to be involved in and around, you know, in the music. And when
What was her name?
her name was Janice Riemann.
Okay.
Yeah. So like when I went to a youth club in the Strand, can't remember it what its name was now. Something the club it was in the Strand. I can't remember the name of the place now. And learnt to wire up a live PA rig. And on the weekends there'd be bands down there playing. So anytime there was a reggae band down, they'd call me up and say, yeah, while the reggae band's on, I can come and increase my skills of mixing and so forth, you know. And it was all good, man. It was all good. It was all a nice vibe. So I find now that I've got a love for mixing as well as singing now. I like to mix, especially dub, because I like dub music, the roots music. So I find that's where I have some fun. So I'll mix a little dub for you still. Hopefully I've got a message for all people, all different walks of life, you know, because it's all about living and enjoying life. This is the red now. You have to press this one, Xavier. That one you have to press now.